As you explore business models and think about how to create business models that will make sense for your venture and maximize your opportunity for success, we'd like to introduce a tool called the Business Model Canvas. We'll do this in two parts, and this is a tool that you can use to begin to try and scope and think about the business models that are going to make sense for your venture. And this is the Business Model Canvas that is a one-pager that gives you an overview of things to think about and consider as you're beginning to craft the design of the company. We're going to talk about each of the blocks, but today we'll focus first on the value propositions, customer relationships, channels, and customer segments. And then later we'll talk about partners, activities, and resources, and the financial information regarding cost and revenues at the bottom as well. What a canvas looks like once it's completed or filled in at an initial level is within each of these blocks, you begin to jot down and note ideas and approaches and things you're going to do. And so part one we'll look at, I like to start with the customer segment piece, because as we've looked at industries, as we've looked at markets and customers, we've gone down the path of thinking about what's an interesting market opportunity, what's an interesting industry, what might we be able to do by serving a subset or a niche within that industry. And once we've defined who we want to serve, we can begin to think about what their needs are, what their influences are, what their willingness to pay is, and we can get to know them a bit better as we're thinking about how they're going to interact with our product. Segments can happen, one, and it's somewhat mass market, and this is difficult to compete in, but not impossible. So when you think about a product and the customers that use that product, there's not a lot of trends. There's not a lot of groupings. They all kind of use it for the same reason. Some of the base products come to mind, like soft drinks, like toilet paper. Maybe you're going to buy the store brand of the soft drink, but if you are interested in the premium offering of the branded, it's not that much more expensive. Toilet paper, paper towels, bleach, Kleenex, all of those things are somewhat mass market. Niche markets are subsets or specifics that you can begin going into and thinking about how to segment, how to diversify. And with startups, typically, you're better spent by looking at the niches of trying to segment and diversify those and serve a smaller market well, rather than try and serve everybody. And everybody's probably already being served in some fashion by bigger firms. Whereas when you begin to look at segments, they may be unserved and may be more ripe for willing to try something new. There are also, again, combinations of these that can come into play as well. So value propositions is another block. We're looking at the bundle of products that we can deliver. What is it that we can do in terms of being able to add value? Who is it that we are trying to add value to? And what is it that we're able to offer them? So what are the benefits? Not the features, not the functions, but more so what's the purpose? Why would somebody want what it is that we're bringing? So we talked about this firm Spotify and this online music distribution that I can pay $10 a month for, have it on my mobile device, ad-free and downloadable. What's the value that I get from that? In a word, what's the value that I derive from that? Entertainment. Okay, so it's entertaining. Music is the product.
Access.
So there's some level of access and portability. I can find the music I want with relative ease. It's portable. I can take it where I want, when I want, with or without Wi-Fi, with or without my laptop, if it's on my mobile device. So I have access, I have portability, it's entertaining. Any other values?
Mobile.
Portability and mobile I'll use kind of interchangeably.
It's free.
Free is not a value, free is a price. Affordable could be a value, but the orientation of it is that you don't need a laundry list of things. You don't need 10 values or 20 values. There might be 2 or 3 big ones that you can satisfy. There might be one big one that you satisfy, and that may be enough. So don't get too wrapped up in trying to fill up the box or try and use a lot of words. There might be just a few core central things you want to communicate. Value can happen in quantitative ways. It can also happen in qualitative ways. So give some consideration to both. You don't necessarily need to have both, but it's important to recognize that you can look at value in a few different ways and measure it in a few different ways. And to know if you are going to be able to deliver on it, you should think about how you want to measure it. We also have channels as another block, another building block within the canvas. And this looks at how you're going to communicate and reach and serve certain markets. So what's your medium by which you're going to get your products out, help them understand the value. And if you're going to do premium cookies, then your value is going to be a tasty treat. What are your options for how to get your cookies into the market? What are your options for how to sell your cookies?
Brick and mortar shop.
You can have a brick and mortar. I'm going to open up a retail space, and I'm going to open and operate a cookie shop. And I'm going to carry only my cookies. And I'm going to have a lot of signs and images and fixtures and furnishings and everything that really exhibits and marries the type of brand and experience that I want to deliver. So I'm going to control the whole thing. And that's Apple in large part. I'm going to build it, design it, sell it, service it, retail it, although they do some other retailing, but I'm going to own the whole thing. What else can I do with my cookies? Yep.
You can mass produce them and distribute them to other companies to distribute.
Okay, I can mass produce. I can try and sell into department stores and grocery stores and things of that nature. What else can I do?
Like a delivery service?
I can do a delivery service whereby people may go online, buy my cookies, I'll put them on a box, and I will mail them to you. So let's look at those 3. I'm going to have a cookie shop. I'm going to mass produce and sell to big box retailers, Walmart, Kroger, Safeway, grocers, or I'm going to do mail order. I'm going to go to a website. I'm going to have a nice website, and I'm going to mail it to you in a fancy box. Which of those is best?
Going to the bigger companies.
Okay. Going to the bigger companies, selling to the Walmarts and the grocers.
You can't do that immediately, though.
What's best about it?
They have a large radius of distribution.
Okay. They have a built-in market. They have a lot of customers, and I can arguably get in front of them a lot faster. What's my product again?
Cookies.
What kind of cookies?
Chocolate chip.
Good cookies. What kind of cookies do grocery stores and big box retailers sell?
Cookies.
I would say cheap cookies,
Some are good.
but they're still cheap versus my cookies. I'm developing a supreme cookie. Better than any other cookies out there.
More different.
So if my cookie is better than, it's going to be hard to charge what I want to charge in Walmart. It's going to be hard to compete with the dozens, if not hundreds, of other cookie options you're going to have in these retailers. They're also going to beat me down on my price. I'm also going to have to do things like add preservatives, which change the flavor profile. Because I can't sell to Walmart a product that's going to expire in a week, because they're not even going to be able to get it from me to their distribution facilities, out to all of their retailers at the price that they want to spend to do that. Some things you have to do that with produce or with other food products. But with mine, if they treat all their other cookies in kind of a mass production, put it in a warehouse way, kind of going to want to do the same thing with mine. And it's hard to differentiate. Just another box of cookies on the shelf. What are my other options? Of the other two, what do you like?
Oh, then definitely online, because
Definitely online. So with online, why do we like online?
it's more custom, so that way you.
So it's more custom, so in that way I can have the look and the feel and the style. You can either choose a prefab box of cookies that I have, or if you want 2 of these and 3 of those and 6 of these and 1 of the other, maybe I'll let you pick out what's in your cookie box. So I can do some custom things. I control the look and feel. I control the price point. I keep all of the revenue. I don't have to share that revenue with anyone else. I can mail it to you quickly. I can do overnight. I can do 2-day. So again, I can have the product I want without the preservatives, have it be organic, all natural, whatever it is I want to do. I can manage and control that. Cheaper than bricks and mortar. What's the problem with online?
Someone will have to search it where they found it.
They need to find me. How many online cookie retailers are there? So I'm looking for,
I can't think of. I feel like this is big.
I'm looking for good cookies. And I have an array of bricks and mortar places.
Great American cookies.
A lot of them are recipes.
Good cookies for back.
I have to sort through but I want premium.
You're gonna count with your cookies.
I don't want it to be organic. Yeah, let me do premium.
Yeah, but
It's like
you get cookies like.
Oh, these are pretty nice. So in that way, what we see here are there some competitors, so we want to think about that. There are some competitors, so we want to think about that. But there's certain efficiencies that we get with being online versus being in bricks and mortar. And you want to think through all of those elements. And you want to think through each of those in the context of what is it that are the pros, what is it that are the cons, what are the other relative revenues and costs associated with that, how does it impact the experience that we want to have for our customers. And you begin to shape what it is you want to do with your channel. And it also needs to fit with the other pieces of the business. So in that way, again, where is our segment shop? So if you've thought about segments and you've thought about who you want to serve and what's the value, that should help guide the channel that you want to go into. If it's a premium offering for a higher income level person that values that level of control, if I want to pick exactly what I want, you need to have a more custom experience. If it's college students and y'all want cheap and easy and fast, an online gourmet option is not well suited for the majority of you. Now, for some it may work, but you probably want the easy, the fast, the cheap, the quick, the now. And if that's the market you're going after, your product should be aligned with that. And in that way, if you're doing online, if you're doing face-to-face, if you're doing some bricks and mortar and other things, make sure you recognize how to develop them and measure them and know what works and how that impacts the customer relationship, which is, again, another piece of the canvas. And you want to think about what that relationship is, what it looks like. What's the benefit of somebody going into a store to buy something?
You can see what you're getting.
For the consumer, they can see it, they can try it, they can touch it, feel it. What's the benefit for the retailer?
Oftentimes, the consumer buys more than...
The consumer may see other things and buy more, and or you can recommend other things and buy more. So that's what we mean by upselling.
It creates a good image for the business because there's customers inside the store.
There's an image element of, again, foot traffic, and you can also talk to people. How did you hear about us? What do you like? What are your favorites? Are there things that you wish we had? So you can do some of that kind of real-time research. If it's online, you get to do largely none of that. Now, you can do surveys and you can ask questions, but in a little bit of a different format and with a much lower response rate. So in summary, we began to highlight a few critical areas of the business model to get you moving down this path of understanding the business model canvas. We've talked about value propositions, the role they play. We've talked about customer relationships and segments, and we've also talked about channels and what are some opportunities to try and deliver some of those values to your customers. And when we connect next time, we'll explore the rest of the business model canvas.